Hey y'all, it's Tynetta from Sting Nail Co. Today I'm going to show you how I did these cute designs on my client for Halloween using our products from stingbeauty.com. So the first thing I'm going to do is this cute 3D flower with the eyeball in the middle. I'm using snow cover acrylic to go ahead and create the eyeball. So first I put a small bead down and it was a little bit flatter than I wanted, so I added another small bead right on top. And now I'm going to go ahead and create that flower around the perimeter of the eyeball. So for 3D flowers, what I like to do is use 50% monomer and 50% acetone. Adding the acetone to the mix is what's going to keep these from being so runny, and it helps it dry a lot faster. I want to drag the tip of my brush through the bead before it gets too hard so that I can flatten it out and create that point at the tip. Then I'm going to use the body of my brush to spread out the center of that bead just to flatten it a little bit and make it look more like a flower petal. And I'm going to do that on the left and the right side of the line that I drew. That's what creates that petal shape. Now I'm going to get smaller beads and place them at the top of the nail. I did two so that it would give each one time to dry, so whenever I got back to the first one it was ready for me to press. Okay, so 1, 2, now this one is ready. I'm going to go ahead and literally just press the body right directly in the middle, and it's just going to spread that out perfectly for you. I'm going to do the same thing to fill in the rest of the flower. You just want to make sure when you're placing a petal that it's not going next to one that's currently wet, because they will merge together and it'll be a big mess. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. Now I'm going to use our 15mm liner brush along with our black gel paint to go ahead and create the V-tip on her pointer finger. And this is super easy. You just want to get the brush loaded with the paint by dragging it through the paint. And then I'm going to just lay that brush flat on the nail and pull it down her nail, and that's it. I'm going to do the same thing on the left and the right side and meet in the middle at the tip of the nail. And then if I notice that there's any imperfections or anything that where I messed up, I'm going to use some acetone on the same 3D brush I was using just to clean that up. Okay, now I'm going to clean off my 15mm liner brush in some acetone, and I'm using our super white gel polish in a very thin layer just to create these lines, these diagonal lines on her middle finger. If you feel like you're going to mess up your previous design, you can cure in between fingers. I usually try to do 2 or 3 fingers just for the sake of time, but you know, you can cure in between if you need to. So once those are cured, I'm going to take my 7mm brush and I'm using a nice neon yellow to fill in those lines. This is going to give us the effect of the caution tape. I'm using a 7mm brush because this brush is the perfect size for filling in spaces and for drawing in small details, as you will see in a second. This yellow polish was a little bit thick, so I did have to kind of run through it a few times just to get it nice and smooth. And I'm going to use the same yellow polish to dry the pupil onto our flower. And then I'm going to cure that for 60 seconds. Now I'm using our 7mm brush with our black gel paint to go ahead and create these words. You want to use just the tip of the brush whenever you're doing any sort of lettering or any sort of detail work. Instead of laying the brush down flat, I'm holding that brush up straight and just using only the tip of my brush. You also want to make sure that you don't have too much polish on the brush so that you can get those nice thin lines. I'm just going back and forth and making sure everything is legible. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the pupil on that other finger, cure both of those. And now I'm going to switch back to my 15mm brush so I can go ahead and draw those nice straight lines. I'm still using the black gel paint for this step. The reason why I'm using the gel paint instead of the gel polish is because the gel paint does not move when you place it down. I'm able to do all kind of lines and designs without worrying about that polish running. Okay, so that's why I prefer the black gel paint for detail work. So I cleaned off my brush with some acetone, and now I have red gel polish, and I'm just drawing these super thin little lines around the eyeball to resemble veins, and then I'm going to cure all of that. So now we're going to get into this spiderweb design, and I'm using again the 15mm liner brush with the black gel paint, and I'm first going to go ahead and outline the French, and now I'm just drawing some lines all around to create that spiderweb look. I'm going to cure that, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw the spider web in between. So I'm just drawing basically some little curves. You can think of it as like a parenthesis shape, like when you're typing or writing, just the shape of a parenthesis, not too curved but nothing too straight either. You still want it to look like a spider web. And once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and cure that for 60 seconds. Now I'm using some super sticky jewelry gel to go ahead and apply all of my crystals. So I'm just going to place these in a nice little design, and then I'm going to add some silver micro beads just to give it a little bit more detail. You can flash cure the crystals, but I didn't, just because, you know, it's not going to go anywhere unless I bump it. So I'm going to go ahead and top coat the rest of her nails using our gel top coat. This is going to seal in our designs for weeks and weeks. And just for this little eyeball part, I did use matte top coat just so it can stay matte like the rest of the flower. For the pinky, I am going to add one little crystal at the top of the French. So I'm going to apply my gel top coat, and while the top coat is still wet, I'm applying a small dot of super sticky jewelry gel, and I'm going to place that crystal right into that and then cure. Now that these crystals are cured in place, I'm going to go ahead and add the top coat around that and seal in the rest of the nail. I am top coating over the little beads because I want them to stay on as long as possible, but I'm not top coating on top of the crystals, just the beads. Go ahead and smooth that top coat out as much as you need to. Make sure there's no lint or any dust or debris. Cure that one more time, and here's the finished product. I think these came out super cute. It's given like Halloween but still glam at the same time, so it's not too scary, not too gory. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I will see you guys next time, and have a great day.